This is the reflection video for the ASQ developmental paper section. So question 1, what are the implications to social work of understanding your child's development? Understanding the child's development is everything to social work. As a matter of fact, we should learn how the parent acted as a child too. Is there an ASQ for adults? And if not, there should be. This is different than an IQ test because it involves things that an IQ test does not involve. If we better understand where the child came from, the culture he grew up in, the family's history, essentially the biopsychosocial makeup of the child, you will have a better understanding what is lacking, which may help you understand why the child acts a certain way in certain circumstances. For example, if the child has terrible communication skills, does not recognize letters, like my child was having some issues with, then maybe he will feel inferior, and then he has to act out or shut down and avoid social interactions for fear of being called an idiot or embarrassed, which is very important to younger children, their peer interactions. Also, understanding the timing of what the child is going through, the age the child is when he is going through the transitions, and if the child is fitting into age-graded systems that society has dictated, which cause a lot of anxiety and stress for children as well as adults. Number 2, is the ASQ a good tool to use with populations of the Southwest? I don't see why it wouldn't be. I understand that the culture might be somewhat different than what it is in South Carolina. Demographics and everything are different in the Southwest than they are in South Carolina, but the function remains the same. Every child needs to know how to read, write, balance properly, have proper nutrition, communication skills, fine and gross motor skills. This assessment works regardless of what culture you are in. So it can be used in the Southwest, Northwest, Southeast, Northeast, Mexico, Germany, Europe. Now, do I think that this is a perfect assessment? No. But I do think it's nearly perfect. Sure, why not? I think there could be a better breakdown of the scores and questions. For example, number 3, under problem solving, essentially asks the child to count up to 15 without making any mistakes. If they make no mistakes, they get a 10, which is a big score. If they count up to 12 with no mistakes, they get a 5, which is a big score. But what if the child counts up to 10? The child obviously knows his numbers up to 10, but he's having some issues getting beyond that. But anything below 12 is going to count as a 0. I don't think that's right. So it gets a score of 0 if it's below 12, which greatly affects the overall score. My critique would be to just break down the availability of a score better than 10, 5, and 0. If that is the case, then you would get a more accurate score. Also, why not go ahead and attach the preschool Wechsler test to it, depending on the age of the child? The Wechsler test that we've read about in the textbook. Might as well go ahead and do that while you're doing this, so that you get a more encompassing view of what the child's skills are, their development, and everything else. And that way you can have a better comprehensive assessment. Lastly, number 3, what did I learn from this experience and reflect on those experiences? So, I learned more than I thought I was going to, honestly. First, I had no idea that there was even such a thing as the ASQ test. I knew that there was the nature versus nurture saying was true, but I did not know that there was a scientific name for understanding people called the biopsychosocial. I didn't know it was that cohesive. I knew that 2-parent households were very important, but I did not realize just how important, nor did I have any idea that 50% of children in our society, in American society, will experience living with one parent at a time, whether they get remarried or anything, but one parent. I had no idea that African American families had such a high rate of fatherless households. It is astonishing and greatly affect the culture of the African American family over a decade or two. Learning these things and more have made me more sympathetic to other people and how important the family structure really is to society. Thank you for listening.